I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, October the 31st. Brought to you in part by Macrocin by Bimeda. Macrocin is a bold, straight shooting telithromycin injection that does what it's supposed to do. For you, for your cattle, and for your bottom line. With no BS. For more information, go to macrocin.com. Also, Joplin Regional Stockyards. Special day in Joplin here on Monday. Going to have 5,500 head, which is a good run as tight as numbers are right now. Including in that 5,500 is going to be 30 loads of true yearling cattle. Right through the ring at Joplin Regional Stockyards. So be sure and tune in to DV Auction and view and bid that sale. You can also get to that console through JoplinStockyards.com. As soon as the sale is over, they're going to have a primetime livestock video right from the barn there, and it's going to be a big one, including a big consignment. Juergens Myers Farm, 1,620 head of steers in one lot. They're 95% black. They're part home raised, part bought to match the kind of cattle that he had. Good cattle to weigh 9 1/4 and deliver this week off grass. So as hard as these green grass yearlings are to find, don't forget to tune in to that Joplin video or primetime livestock video they call it, immediately following the regular sale here today on Monday at Joplin Regional Stockyards. Halloween today and scary good fundamentals. They continue. We're going to stay in scary good fundamentals here for quite some time. Had a pretty good week this past week. The board ended up down for the week, which is kind of frustrating after it opened big with help from last Friday's Cattle on Feed report, which gave us a boost, but then just kind of petered out as we went through the week. But I think for the most reason that it petered out is because your investments, your investors or speculators in your cattle futures were kind of disgusted with the trade that we had this week. We gained a bunch of ground in your fat cattle market the previous week, but this last week guys didn't dig in hard enough. Everybody was talking 155 in the north early in the week. We indeed got some 155, but not on many. We had some 154, like I was telling you on our last visit, that I heard traded at 10 o'clock on Thursday morning. The packer did not get that information turned in to mandatory price reporting, so we didn't get to see that, but it showed up on the roundup. Of course, the trade's all over by then. But there was some 154, but it was mostly 152 with some 153. You know, that's just kind of mostly steady to a buck higher. Your Southern Plains did gain ground. They gained $2 smooth from 148 to 150, but very little negotiated trade. And the negotiated trade in the Southern Plains continues to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle, partly because your packers are letting guys have negotiated grid at the same price as the market. Of course, they're using the market to establish that and set that up, but it does give your guys a chance to get a few kickers on some better grading cattle if they have any, but nobody's got any cattle that are mostly high choice and prime anymore. We've run out of those kind of cattle. And we've been cheating on our rations, cheating on the amount of corn that we put in, and like I told you the other day, they're cheating on the amount of fat that they're putting in to those rations, which I think is also pulling down on the grading a little bit. But it was kind of a disgusting northern trade, and I'm not sure why the guys didn't stay in there. We've got them over the barrel, guys. I mean, flat by the short hairs. They'll have to give whatever you want to ask for the cattle. It doesn't happen very often. You've got about another month or 6 weeks here to get these done and gain as much ground as you can. And if you don't get aggressive in your negotiated trade, ask for more money for the cattle, demand more money for the cattle, and don't let them go unless you get it. we're gonna waste this golden opportunity. Now, yes, I think the market's going to be good for the next 2 to probably 3 years because we're so short of numbers. But the market's good right now. I mean right now good. I don't mean $2 a pound for fat cattle good. I talk to people more and more that think that that's a possibility. I really don't. The market has never been higher than 173 established in the Northern Plains. That was in 2014, and that was that market was pushed by some things that weren't necessarily just supply and demand. It's artificially pushed a little bit. We may get to that point. We may eclipse that point. But I sure don't see $2 fat cattle. But $1.50 plus fat cattle is awful good on a live basis there, guys. But like I said, we continue to have great fundamentals. Boxed beef cutout values were up big this week, so packers don't have quite so much to whine about. Gained $9.25 on choice cuts. That's pretty darn good. A big gain for 1 week's time there for them. We're going to get rid of the October spot market on both live cattle and feeder cattle. We've already lost it on the feeder cattle. That's a good thing because now we're looking at a market that's set higher out front, working off December contract, and sometimes we're in a bastard month like November here on our fat cattle, and we lose sight of the market. But I don't think we're going to this time. I think that that December contract will stay out in front and keep pulling that market higher. We're still in awfully good position as far as having really tight supplies of market-ready fat cattle, and they're not buying as many cattle every week through all different types of arrangements to get them bought as what they're slaughtering. Another big week of slaughtering, 668,000. That wasn't quite as big as the previous week. It was going that way, but then we kind of slipped up on a Saturday. But as long as they continue to do that, and we don't see any signs of them backing off yet, they've got a lot of product promised. They've got a lot of product they've got to get put up so that they can send it out. And now we're getting into the holiday season buying, and box beef cutout values are seeing that, realizing that boost in demand, and getting higher in prices there. But it still costs a lot to feed one. Still not many places to turn one out. But new news here and big alert, we are going to have some wheat pasture. We've gotten enough moisture in some major hard red winter wheat regions, especially in the Texas Panhandle and western Oklahoma. There's going to be some wheat out there. I took these pictures here. This was about 2.5 weeks ago on some dry land wheat here in the center part of the Texas Panhandle. And you see how pitiful it is. I took this next picture on some wheat about a week later in the same area that was irrigated under a sprinkler. Not irrigated enough, but did have some of that expensive water on it. But check out this picture that was sent to me this week from my friend Tucker Teague in Hamlin, Texas. That was after 3.5 inches of rain on that wheat. And that's Hamlin, Seymour, Archer City, all in that area. There's a lot of wheat pasture through there, guys. And so we are going to have a place to turn those cattle out. Not sure if they're going to be able to turn them out November the 15th like they like to. But I would say, by 1st of December, they should be able to turn out. If that wheat is not rooted down, it doesn't do you a lot of good to turn out because the cattle will just pull it all up immediately. But you gotta get it rooted down. But when you get that good dark green color to it there, and it's had some moisture and it's thriving and it's rooted down, might as well turn some cattle out on it. Does not hurt the harvest value of that cattle as long as you get them off there by March 15th. Let's talk about your board for last week, and like I said, it was kind of disappointing. October live cattle futures, Monday was up $1.12, Tuesday was up 7 cents, Wednesday down 22, Thursday down a nickel, Friday down $1.02, with October live cattle contract ending the week at 150.37. That was down a dime for the week. December ended the week at 153 smooth. That was up 58 cents for the week. On feeder cattle, we've gone to the November contract. Monday was up 80 cents, Tuesday down 122, Wednesday up 90, Thursday down 70, Friday down a quarter. Your October feeder cattle contract went off the board there after Thursday at 175.97. November ended the week at 177.87, down 48 cents for the week. January contract out front there for feeder cattle ended the week at 180.37. Your fat cattle trade up through Thursday, negotiated basis in your 5-area feeding region, had 56,800 head. We'd like to think that whenever we have a higher market like we did last week, wasn't as much higher as we wanted it to be, but higher market, we have aggressive negotiated trade. The cattle are just not out there, guys. Significantly more trade in the northern plains on that disappointing gain. They sold 52,400 in Iowa and Nebraska. That was nearly all the trade. Hardly any trade at all in the southern plains. Not even 13,000 putting all of Texas and Kansas together, but they did have almost 22,000 head of negotiated grid, and I told you about that a while ago. But Colorado, of course, we don't get to see what happened there. Iowa, 3,300 on Friday, 26,500 head for the week. Good movement in Iowa. Friday's prices that were confirmed was 152 to 153. Like I said, that 154 that they had Thursday showed up after hours. They also had some 155, but not much of it. 240 dressed was the only dress price on Friday. Nebraska, about 5,000 head confirmed on Friday. About almost 26,000 for the week. Live sales on Friday, 152 to 153, and dressed sales at 240. Kansas and Texas did not have any sales late in the week or on Friday, but the bulk of their trade was all at 150, $2 higher, like I said. Box beef cutout values, your weighted average on all of last week's trade, like I said, choice was up $9.26 with a weighted average on choice trades last week of $261.19, and that was $2 less than where they ended the week, so they're still gaining. Select's weighted average all of last week was $229.59, up $7.69 compared to the weighted average of previous week. And their late Select sales, late Friday afternoon, was $5 more than that weighted average. So it's catching up big time. Choice Select spread on your weighted average movement last week was almost $32. That's big. 607 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Slaughter, 668,000. We thought we were going to have more than the previous week, but it ended up being 5,000 less with the Saturday harvest. So it was 10,000 less than last week or the previous week. But still, that 668,000 was the same as the same week a year ago. And a year ago we had a Saturday harvest that was almost twice as big. Talk about what else is going on. Beaver County Stockyards that I talk about a lot on here is going to have their Customer Appreciation Day tomorrow on Tuesday. I'm planning on going up for it. I mean, who says there's no free lunch? I'll drive 200 miles to have a free lunch on Jeff Slatton. I hadn't been up to see him for a while, so looking forward to going up there and watching the sale on Tuesday in Beaver, Oklahoma. If you guys are kind of curious about that market and never been, make the trip over, get your free lunch and check it out. Talk about your feeder market. Your real-time index on DV auction ended the week at 175.35. That was up $2.37 for the week. We saw some big gains in our Monday sales, and then they kind of continued that same trend all through the week. Cash feeders and your sale barns, yearlings $2 to $5 higher. Weaned calves $2 to $5 higher. Balling calves about steady. Most people that are selling balling calves, they're still getting the respiratory vaccinations in them. and that's the main thing. And especially now that we've had a freeze in most of our areas, especially going up into the Midwest and the Northern Plains, guys are not having as much trouble with cattle as what they were before. But talk about your Zoetis stick-out sale of the day late last week or over the weekend was Fort Pierre Livestock Auction, Fort Pierre, South Dakota on Friday. 7,400 head. They called the Pee-wee calves higher. Middleweight calves were lower, and quite a bit lower. And I talked to some buyers that were there, and they noticed that were buying calves. And you think, well, I thought you said that the calf market was higher. Well, it is everywhere but South Dakota. They've just moved so many of them heavy 5-weight and light 6-weight calves in South Dakota the last couple of weeks. Everybody's chock full of them. Yes, I know the numbers are lighter than normal, but still, it's that time of year when they're all selling because everybody turns their bulls out and everybody calves at the same time. So everybody's got calves ready to sell at the same time, and they're all weighing about the same. So the middleweight calves in Fort Pierre were $2 to $8 lower. Yearlings were not well tested, but look at Fort Pierre's consigned lots of steer calves that were over 100 head. I think that's pretty significant there. And you look at all these, and including in there was the top one, 110 head of 501 pound steer calves, bring $237.50. Give you a few individual quotes. How about Bluegrass Stockyard South, Richmond, Kentucky? Still selling them high there. 64 head of steers weighed 820 at 176.75. That's $1.50 over your real-time index, and that's out east where they're not even counted, guys. How about Mankato, Kansas? Mankato Livestock Auction. My friend Neil Beret there's got a good sale going. 110 head of steers weighed 956. Bring 184.35 on Friday in Mankato, Kansas. But your top and most impressive quote late last week in your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day come out of Winter Livestock Auction in Winter, South Dakota. 87 head of steers weighed 653 at 218.75. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.